you mind moving up?
Yeah. So, where's mine going?
Sorry, I think I might.
Yeah.
That's where I am now. We don't start yet.
Are there no windows?
There are. They're open as far as I'll go.
Yeah, you've got the best spot.
If there's anybody who's not pressed and doesn't mind giving up their seat, we've got some important cash cards here if people don't mind letting them have the seat.
If you're not press, if you would be so kind.
Thank you.
Morning, everyone. We're going to start now. I'm just chairing this press conference and facilitating it. As you know, 8 political prisoners held on remand for taking action to solidarity with Palestine remain on an open-ended hunger strike, which began on the 2nd of November. That's 45 days, 46 days ago. This is the biggest coordinated prison hunger strike in UK history since the 1981 H block strike in Northern Ireland. All of these people are young adults, exemplifying the intense political commitment of the current generation on Palestine. All have lost a significant percentage of their body weight, and with the hunger strike in its 2nd month, are reaching a critical stage and nearing a point of no return. We have a number of contributors. Our first contributor is Francesca Nadine. She is a representative from Prisoners of Palestine. Francesca.
Thanks. Yes, I'm the representative of the 8 prisoners that have been on hunger strike since the 2nd of November. They are Kesazura, who's 20 years old. She's been on hunger strike for 47 days. Amu Gib, 30 years old, on hunger strike for 47 days. Hiba Moresi, 31 years old, on hunger strike for 46 days. Rahma Hoxha, 29 years old, on hunger strike for 40 days. Kamran Ahmed, 28 years old, on hunger strike for 39 days. Louis Chiamarello, 22 years old, on hunger strike for 14 days. That's a partial hunger strike. He is fasting every other day because he has diabetes, which is extremely dangerous. Umar Khaled, who's 22 years old, was on hunger strike for 13 days. And John Sink, 25 years old, was on hunger strike for 41 days. Both Umar and John have now paused their hunger strike. So all of the prisoners are now in the danger zone. Most of them have been hospitalised, some of them more than once. And I think the important thing to say here is that nobody wants to go on hunger strike. These are just ordinary young people that have been forced into this situation, into this incredibly difficult and unjust situation by the British government. They have no other choice left to them because they've tried all legal avenues to get justice for themselves, to get decent prison conditions, to be treated with dignity, and all of those have failed. So they feel they've got no other choice left to them. All they've done is allegedly take action to stop the genocide in Gaza to do the right thing. And it's clear that these cases and their treatment in prison is political. All their demands are reasonable. They're things that any citizen in any democratic country should be given automatically. They shouldn't have to go on hunger strike or make these demands. Their demands include freedom of expression and opinion whilst they're in prison. They have had consistent censorship, consistent repression as a result of their ideas. They've had hundreds of letters missing or blocked, books that they aren't allowed to have, phone calls blocked, visits disrupted, all of these because of so-called security reasons. And these security reasons are because they are being effectively treated as terrorists by the British government, and as a result of that, by the prison. So with these security reasons, no explanation has to be given for their treatment, and it seems to be completely arbitrary. There are books that are blocked that's, for example, about feminism. So how is that a security risk? It just makes no sense. This seems to be a retrospective punishment since the proscription of Palestine Action, because all of the people in prison are accused of actions with Palestine Action. So their treatment has worsened considerably since this proscription. The prison now seems to think it's acceptable to treat them as terrorists, despite the fact that they don't have any conviction. They still haven't had their trial. They get spoken about by the prison staff constantly as terrorists. They're intimidated all the time. And all of this just because of alleged property damage. If this is what the government is calling terrorism, then something's gone very wrong in this country. And because of this label of terrorism as well, they are not allowed to have bail. So some of them will be on remand in prison without a conviction for up to 2 years, or even an indefinite period of time. We just don't know, because the trial dates keep getting changed. We don't know when they'll be sentenced. This is way over the legal limit of 6 months. And despite the fact that they don't even meet any of the conditions to be remanded in the first place, they're not a risk to the public. They could quite easily be sent home with appropriate bail conditions. So the question is why? Why are they being kept in prison in the first place? Because this is a political case, and that's why they feel the need to go on hunger strike, to highlight the political nature of their case and the fact that they're in prison when they shouldn't be. So despite all our efforts over this period of time, all our attempts to engage with the government, to get a meeting with us, to discuss their demands on the prisoners' behalf, they've continued to ignore us. We will continue trying. We call on the government, on David Lammy, to meet with us urgently, because the lives of the hunger strikers are in their hands. It's not much to ask for a meeting. We just want to talk to them, that's all. And if they continue to ignore us, well, it's their responsibility. In prison, the government, the Minister of Justice, is responsible for the well-being and the lives of the people in prison. We can see that there's been a complete neglect of that. And by refusing to talk to us about their health situation, which is very precarious, they are now in the danger zone, refusing to talk to us about these demands, well, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're very worried, obviously. We just call on David Lammy, as I said, have a meeting with us, and we can end this situation safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. Our next speaker. Thank you. Our next speaker is Shahmina Alam. She's the sister of Kamran Ahmed. Shahmina.
You're going to have to bear with me because as you can tell, I've lost my voice. And it's symbolic of what we're going through right now, because our family has never felt this much anxiety, never dreaded phone calls as much as we have now. I think the worst feeling is when you don't receive a phone call that day. And what we've come to realise is when we don't receive a phone call, it means he's been hospitalised. Or worse, that he doesn't have the energy levels to be even able to phone. Kamran is 28 years old. He was a neighbourhood mechanic. Without him, the neighbours feel lost. There's no one to help fix their cars. He did a lot of stuff for free. He would support friends. He's gone out to people that have been stranded in Luton so he can help bring their car back. And after he got remanded, the first thing he said was, "Can you check in on the elderly lady down the road? She needs help." He wasn't worried about his situation. He just wanted to make sure that any gaps he's left were filled. We saw the outpouring of videos from Gaza and the Palestinians being slaughtered, and he couldn't look away. He couldn't continue just swiping. It drove him to stand for humanity as part of one of his core values and characteristics. And he still stands with humanity even from his cell. He has directly asked for ending the complicity of the government in the ongoing genocide by stopping having an arms company operating in the UK who are supplying the weapons that are used in the genocide of the Palestinians. He, for the last year, whilst being on remand, has bear witness to the injustice of his comrades, of fellow activists, of himself, which he has challenged both legally and through other means. But what has resulted is the most difficult decision: to starve his body of nutrients because there's nothing left. People ask me as his sister, how do I support this? Because I had to witness the injustice of the last year. I had to witness what he had to go through, bail denied, the injustice in the courtrooms, things that we keep reporting, but it goes unheard. He's committed to the liberation of Palestine. He's committed to our rights in this country as a British citizen, to oppose this genocide, to advocate for it, the right to a fair trial, the right to have no censorship. These are not abnormal asks. They're asks of all British citizens, not just those that are inside a prison cell. And it is a great shame that we have to stand here and ask for those things. He is on day 39 of his hunger strike. He's had 2 hospitalizations since the start of his hunger strike, having only come out of his hospitalization last week. Whilst they were able to stabilize his ketones, they are steeply on the rise again. But what is mostly concerning is that his heart is giving in and his pulse is slowing down. And at the moment, he is losing half a kg every day. He started on 74 kilograms at the start of this hunger strike. He is now on 61.5 kg. And in the last 3 days, or 4 days, he's lost 3 kgs. That is showing you the rapid deterioration of our hunger strikers. So what are we waiting for? 2 weeks ago, I confronted Lamy. I spoke to him from the heart. His head of staff told me they would do everything they can to support. But yet, they continue to decline meetings. Meetings called on by us, by fellow people in Parliament. And then, when we have MPs speak up, the Ministry of Justice people in Parliament, they laugh. They laugh at the lives of 8 people that hold so much integrity and embody the values, the British values that we were taught in school about upholding human rights and standing up for those that are being oppressed. It is great shame what is happening in the country because the integrity of the government, the justice system, is hanging on a very thin thread. And that thread is these hunger strikers. It is the actionists that are in prison. And it is our job, it is our duty to ensure that integrity doesn't break. And not just for them, but for the future of democracy, for the future of rights in this country, to ensure that we can always preserve human life and uphold it. As you can tell, I'm losing my voice. From the daily interviews, from the daily screaming at the top of my voice, hoping that someone will hear. I don't sleep anymore, and neither do my parents. We're filled with dread, and every day my dad asks the same question. Why will they not respond? He's been without food, how cruel is this? He's been in prison without trial for over a year. Why is such cruelty being enacted here? My dad is originally from Bangladesh. He did not anticipate that British government and the policing and the prison and the justice system would be this corrupt, to endanger the lives of 8 people, to endanger the liberties of all the prisoners that are currently in prison for taking alleged action for Palestine. They shouldn't have had to take alleged action for Palestine. That should have been our government. Should have been the people at the top, not the people whose hearts are too big to look away at the videos and deaths of children, mothers and fathers. As Gaza goes into the coldest winter they will ever see, and videos come out of babies being killed by hypothermia, we must ask ourselves, what are we doing? We can't even save the citizens here. We can't even help the lives out there. Then why are we even a functioning democratic society? Or are we those things at all? I carry the deepest sadness with me at all times. It sits in my heart, and I try and use courage to move forward by the people that come out every day to protest, out in the open for their freedom. But sometimes that deepness, it sinks to the bottom of my stomach. And I don't think anyone will understand the heartbreak that we face every time they get hospitalized. And then the cruelest thing that anyone could do, they cut off all communication every time they are hospitalized, with no updates on their well-being and how they are doing. So how will I ever know if my brother enters a coma? How will I ever know if he's in his last moments, when they refuse to communicate with the next of kin, with his lawyers? I've never felt that level of cruelty, and I never thought that this is what I will be feeling at the hands of the British justice system and the democracy. I was a firm believer of upholding everything we have in our systems, but what this has shown me is everything is a farce. We have so many things that we need to break down to protect everyone, every British citizen that lives in this country, to ensure that their rights are upheld at all times for all prisoners. No family deserves not to know what's happening to their loved one. I call upon David Lammy to please have this meeting. We haven't asked for much, and stop declining the meetings from the MP. So if you don't want to speak to us, then at least speak to your colleagues. This is not about your politics. It's about the lives of 8 individuals. And I do not want to receive the call that my brother has succumbed. succumb to this hunger strike. His heart is slowing down. So what are we waiting for? For it to stop? Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Rahma Hoxha, and this is for Hoxha. Rahma.
My name is Rahma Hoxha, and my sister is T. Hoxha.